What's up YouTube? My name's Ekraj, welcome back to the channel. Today I had a request from a viewer of mine who wanted me to review their 2005 Holden Cruze. Yeah, it's 2005 Holden Cruze, also Chevrolet Cruze if you're from America, but I doubt anyone watching this is from America. So, the car is red. Yeah, it's red. It has silver wheels, probably alloy. Probably. It's got a 1.5 litre flat 4 engine, no turbos, nothing fancy like that, producing about 100 horsepower, and it's about 138 newton meters of torque, and it's also a 5-speed manual, which is surprisingly not the best one in the business. So it's all-wheel drive. It's kind of like that kind of car that Holden GM kind of wanted to make for like the beach kid, the like in the early 2000s, that kind of like 90210 almost kind of vibe, where it was basically just a car to, you know, go to the beach with your friends, like off-road a little bit, but really it was useless at all those things, and people decided to buy bigger and better SUVs as a result. So the Jeep Wrangler sold more, you know, other cars similar to that, whereas this didn't sell too well. But in recent years it's become such a good used car in value that it's been picked up by a lot of kids as first cars, because, you know, they're between 3 to 5 grand if you want to get a low mileage one for 5 grand, higher mileage for 3 grand, and that's fantastic. It's a fantastic prospect in that sense, but it's not the best car to drive. Yeah, but let me give you a quick tour of the inside. So cameraman, follow me. So as you can see, it's unlocked. You get in. It's got seats, a gear lever, a steering wheel. It has a steering wheel so you can go places, and yeah, it's pretty like decently equipped. It has an aftermarket radio, so that's not stock, which is really cool. It has everything off stock, because I mean it's a female owner of this car, so she kind of just wanted to just, you know, cruise around, kind of just have fun with it. Yeah, and it's got air conditioning, which surprisingly the air conditioning is actually really good. So I'm gonna just take you in through the driver's side, so come with me. Now in the driver's side you've got all your regular creature comforts. Let me just hop in. So you've got your wipers up here, you've got your headlights, you've got your indicators, gear levers down here, you've got fog lights there, adjusting your mirrors, light bulbs, you know, all the basic kind of stuff. And it's got your switches, it's got everything, and it's actually a really like good daily drivable kind of car. It's not okay. The clutch, I've found from driving it a couple of times, it's really like finicky to deal with, and it can be a little very light, and it can stall really easily if you're not familiar with this kind of clutch system in this car. I'm sure like in other cars, you know, like my GT for example, the clutch is a lot heavier, so it's a lot easier to bring up to the bite point, but on this it's a bit lighter, and you have to really, you know, balance it as well as you possibly can to get to that point. So that's basically what this clutch in this car is like. And well, now I think it's time that we go for a drive, I think. But before that, I just want to say that thank you to this viewer who allowed me to, you know, borrow their car. I'm out all the way in Karabuda, which is, you know, far away from Perth City, but it's a nice area, and I'll dump some footage in of what the area looks like. It's a really beautiful, you know, rural kind of place. It's nice if you like that kind of thing. Alright, so I think we will move on with the drive. Okay, so we are driving the Holden Cruze now, and well, from what I can say, it is a fun road car. And that was just me turning out onto some gravel off-road. You know, it's a bucket load of fun, this car, and really, like, you know, driving out in Karabuda, this kind of area, it's really good to use it. And yeah, the ride's a bit like wobbly. I mean, with age it happens. It's a car like that. But that being said, it is really quite usable in this kind of area. Alright. Yeah, you have to shift it down the first though, all the time when you come to a stop, because it's really, yeah, it's really quite well, it doesn't have much power. But once it's moving, it's pretty good. You know, it's a kind of car that feels really wobbly, kind of unsafe. It feels like, you know, if you do go too fast, it will roll over, and if you go too fast around a bend, it will roll over. But that being said, it's still pretty good. It's not my kind of car. I wouldn't buy one of these personally, but it's not bad. You know, it does its job, gets where it needs to go. Yeah. But it's fun. It's a fun little run around, you know. It's a good car. It is a little bit of a hunk of junk sometimes, but for the money you're paying for it, it drives quite well. It's not too bad.
Right back at the start, halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing to know. I thought that I could keep it low.
Yeah, but you know, this is it's a very interesting car in that sense that, you know, you have all-wheel drive, you have manual gearbox. It's a perfect first car, I definitely have to say that. But I mean, that's how much play you get in the steering. I'm going straight and I'm turning the steering that much, and that's not fun for anyone. But other than, like, you know, a couple small niggles, the car runs quite flawlessly. It's very reliable in that sense. It doesn't really have, you know, many issues that you can list out, really. It's just wear and tear, things that happen with old cars. But you know, a 1.5, yeah, it doesn't make that much power. No, not at all. 100 horsepower, you really put your foot to the floor, nothing's happening. But that being said, you know, it's got quite a lot of redeeming features about it. That, you know, you can toss it around a corner, it can come out quite smooth, but it's just a little bit, yeah, it's okay. It's a good car, but it's not a car I could see myself driving, and I know that's a bit of a bias. But if you're out there looking for a Holden Cruze, particularly this one actually, because this car is in fact for sale, you know, you can have a look at it, find it on car sales or Gumtree or something along those lines. I'm sure the owner, I'll have a link to it down below if the owner has it up for sale. But yeah, it's a good car, and it really can, like, yeah, you really can see what the idea behind it was when they were conceptualizing this car. And like, yeah, we're taking it on some like Karabuda back roads, and it's, you know, nippy. It's a good city car, definitely, and for these kind of areas, this remote, rural kind of areas, it's fun. It's good fun.
Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low, take it easy, take it slow.
You definitely can, yeah, you definitely can get to grips with what the car is all about, and it's a good car. It is a good car. I'm not gonna say it's that bad. At first, before I drove it, I thought, oh my god, this is gonna be, you know, a nightmare. It's gonna be disgusting to drive. But on these kind of roads, even on regular traffic, it's really a buttload of fun. So on like really like big long like highways like this one, such as this, you know, on higher speeds, the car is fairly stable, but it can be a little wobbly, especially if there's headwinds, crosswinds coming at you. Then, you know, that's gonna affect the stability and balance of the car. But saying that, it is fairly stable. Even though this plane, the steering was a bit weird on these straight roads just like these, you know, you won't have any trouble really, and it can keep up. It can go, you know, 100, which is the speed limit, 110 if you're driving like really, you know, far away. Yeah, it's really good in that sense. So like, you know, because of this car's high center of gravity, you know, whenever you go around a really tight bend really sharply, like it does feel like it's gonna tip over, and that's a really scary feeling. But it's kind of like cool in a way, because you feel like, you know, it's actually very similar to how, let's say, a G-Wagon would drive. I've been in a G-Wagon, but never driven one, but as people who've driven it have said, it's, you know, it feels really heavy, it feels like a bus, it feels really big, and this is like a mini version of that. And I think that's really cool. That's really interesting factor about that. And it does feel like it's going to tip because high center of gravity, cars lifted up a bit, and the technology back in 2004 wasn't the greatest. So that is a reason why the car does feel the way it does when it drives. And like, you know, this is a fantastic little zippy little car. And I don't want to just make it like, you know, fully positive review. Yeah, the negatives I did list out. You know, I'm wafting on and on. So I'm going to just keep it short and to the point. This is a fantastic car. If you're looking to buy a little all-wheel drive car for a first car or a second car or something just practical to run around every day, it's a great car for that. Otherwise, it's a hunk of junk. Alright, so after driving the Holden Cruze, I mean, you can really see that when you put your foot down, you floor it, you kind of, you know, have to wait for the power to build up. With once you get to the higher part of the rev range, then only then does the power like sort of come in. You only feel it at that point. That's what happens when you have a 1.5 4-cylinder. That's, you know, you can't do that too much with this kind of car. I mean, if you ever wanted to modify it, you could shove a turbo in it or swap the engine out if that's what you were into. But really, to conclude, I can just say it's a fun little driving experience. It's a fun little car. It's got like little quirks about it that is nice, and to put it frankly, it's a great car. I wouldn't buy one, but if you're out there looking for a car like this would be, I would say, the best one. And the other competitor to it is the Suzuki Ignis, which this car is based on, but I don't think the Suzuki lives up to how much more hardy this one is. So this, I would definitely say, is a better option between those two. And yeah, to conclude, the Holden Cruze is a great car, and ultimately I had fun driving it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, love cars, see ya.